The hallway was incredibly narrow and suffocating, as if the very walls were leaning in to crush him. He stood there, frozen in place. He watched the long, distorted shadows stretch across the dirty floor tiles. The air was thick with the scent of old wood and cold dampness. The doors moved before he did. It was a subtle, heavy shift that vibrated through the floorboards, a movement that shouldn't have been possible. He didn't touch anything. His hands stayed stiffly at his sides, his fingers trembling with the sudden, icy realization of his total isolation. But something was already there in the darkness. A heavy presence lingered in the corners, unseen but felt like a weight against his chest. The red one felt alive. The paint on the door was the color of dried blood, and it seemed to pulse with a low heat. He could hear a rhythmic thumping from behind the wood, like a slow heartbeat echoing in the silence of the abandoned apartment hallway. The blue one felt empty. It wasn't just vacant. It was a void that seemed to suck the very light out of the air. A biting cold draft seeped from the gap beneath the blue door, carrying the smell of ancient dust and things long forgotten by time. But neither felt safe. They stood like two predatory eyes watching his every move, waiting for him to make a single mistake in the dark. It was watching him. He could feel the weight of an invisible gaze coming from the darkness between the door frames and the peeling wallpaper. And then it moved. Not the air, not a shadow, but the space itself began to warp and twist with a sickening, grinding sound. He lunged for the handle, his heart hammering against his ribs, forcing the red door closed with a desperate, frantic, and heavy slam. He shut it. He leaned his back against the vibrating wood, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he tried to block out the noise. It looked safe for a heartbeat. The silence that followed was absolute, a void of sound that was even more terrifying than the noise, but it wasn't safe. The silence was a lie, a predator's stillness. He realized the air in the hallway had grown impossibly cold and thin. The door was moving away. He looked down and saw the floor tiles stretching out like a rubber band, pulling the exit further away. He couldn't leave. Every step he took toward the light only seemed to push him deeper into the infinite shadows of the corridor. He never came back to the world outside. His screams were swallowed by the red and blue doors, leaving only an echoing, hollow silence. Or maybe they kept him. The doors didn't just close. They became part of him, an eternal prison within the narrow, shifting walls.